when fighters can get in that mode, just understand they need to do the work.
Trevor Wittman, one of the most respected minds in combat sports, is known for his calm demeanor, technical brilliance, and ability to turn good fighters into world champions. From boxing to MMA, Wittman has been a teacher of balance, precision, and mindset. Yet behind his calm voice and signature smile, there lies a man who has endured years of frustration dealing with egos, betrayals, and unprofessionalism inside the fight world. Wittman rarely speaks about hate. He considers it a wasted emotion. But over time, a few names have tested his patience beyond limits. These were fighters he couldn't tolerate, not because of their talent, but because of their attitude, arrogance, or lack of discipline. His hatred wasn't emotional rage.
What are you focused on? You're focused on your defense, you're focused on how to produce leverage.
It was disappointment from a coach who dedicated his life to the craft. Now, with decades of experience behind him, Wittman has quietly revealed the 6 fighters who brought out his worst frustrations. Some of them he trained personally, others he watched destroy their own potential. All of them left a mark on him, reminders that even the best coaches can only do so much when pride replaces professionalism. What makes this list fascinating is not just who these fighters are, but what they represent.
I like the feeling also that I'm able to...
Wasted talent, broken trust, and the clash between wisdom and ego. In Wittman's world, fighting is about control. And those who can't control themselves often end up losing everything. 1. Tony Ferguson. Trevor Wittman respected Tony Ferguson's creativity but couldn't stand his chaos. For years, Wittman admired Ferguson's unorthodox approach, his elbows, movement, and relentless cardio. Yet as Ferguson's career advanced, Wittman saw what many fans didn't: the slow unraveling of a fighter who refused to adapt. Wittman values structure and discipline. Ferguson thrived on madness. When Wittman was asked about Ferguson's training methods, he described them as reckless brilliance. But beneath that respect was irritation. Wittman couldn't understand how someone so talented could sabotage himself through stubbornness. Ferguson constantly clashed with coaches, often dismissing advice and doing his own drills. Wittman once hinted that working with someone like Tony would be impossible because you can't teach someone who won't listen. Over the years, Wittman grew frustrated watching Ferguson ignore the fundamentals of longevity. No rest, no plan, just chaos. His decline confirmed everything Wittman feared. He hated seeing a fighter so gifted become his own worst enemy. For Wittman, Ferguson represented everything that frustrates a true coach. A fighter with brilliance in his hands, but no trust in guidance. Watching Ferguson's career spiral wasn't satisfying. It was painful. Wittman didn't hate Tony for who he was. He hated the waste of what he could have been if only he'd listened. 2. Colby Covington. Few fighters have ever rubbed Trevor Wittman the wrong way, quite like Colby Covington. On a technical level, Wittman respects Covington's cardio and pressure. But on a personal level, he finds his entire persona repulsive. Covington's loudmouth trash talk, political stunts, and constant disrespect toward other fighters clash directly with Wittman's philosophy of respect and humility. Wittman built his gym around integrity, a place where fighters help each other grow. Covington, on the other hand, thrives on chaos and controversy.
Add into that foundation. Take a kick.
Wittman once commented that talking doesn't win fights, discipline does. A clear jab toward fighters like Covington who blur the line between entertainment and disrespect. Even though Wittman understands the value of promotion, he's made it clear that arrogance has no place in his training room. Covington's behavior toward former teammates, including the way he attacked gym loyalty, disgusted Wittman. He believes Covington turned the sport into theater, replacing class with insults. If there's one type of fighter Wittman can't stand, it's the one who uses hatred as a brand. In Covington, he sees a fighter who may win fights but loses dignity. Wittman's disdain for him isn't about his politics or persona. It's about how he poisons the spirit of martial arts. For a coach who believes fighting is about respect, Covington embodies everything he hates. 3. Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz has always divided opinions, and Trevor Wittman is no exception. While Wittman recognizes Diaz's toughness and heart, he dislikes the attitude that often overshadows his skill. To Wittman, Diaz represents the street-over-structure mentality, a fighter who relies more on toughness than technical evolution. Wittman once said that fighters who refuse to adapt eventually fade, and he sees that in the Diaz brothers. Nate's constant feuds, trash talk, and refusal to evolve tactically irritate Wittman. As a coach who emphasizes calculated aggression and precision, watching Diaz rely solely on volume and chin feels like watching a genius waste his potential. Wittman doesn't hate Nate for being authentic. He hates that his authenticity often turns into recklessness. He's spoken about how fighters like Diaz inspire younger athletes to focus on toughness instead of intelligence. For Wittman, that's dangerous. He believes fighters should build their legacy on balance, mental control, not chaos. Wittman has said that while Nate will always have a place in fan hearts, longevity doesn't live in emotion. That line perfectly sums up his feelings. Respect for the warrior, disdain for the stubbornness.
A little bit. He's fighting a good round.
In his view, Nate Diaz could have been an evolved legend, but instead, he became a symbol of wasted brilliance. 4. Deontay Wilder. Trevor Wittman's biggest frustration with Deontay. Wilder lies in his over-reliance on power. Wittman has always believed that true greatness comes from technique, timing, and composure, qualities Wilder often ignored. While he respected Wilder's knockout ability, he disliked how Wilder dismissed fundamentals. Wittman once said that power fades, but skill never does, clearly referencing fighters like Wilder who depend too much on natural gifts. Watching Wilder's fights, Wittman often saw wild swings, poor footwork, and emotional decision-making. To him, that wasn't art. It was chaos, disguised as aggression. The breaking point came after Wilder's losses to Tyson Fury. Instead of accepting defeat and rebuilding, Wilder made excuses, blaming his costume, his trainer, and even the referee. For Wittman, that was unforgivable. He believes accountability is the foundation of greatness. The way Wilder handled those moments confirmed Wittman's deepest dislike: fighters who can't face the truth. Wittman later admitted he couldn't imagine ever working with someone like Wilder, calling him a man who hits hard but learns nothing. That blunt honesty came from frustration. Wittman didn't hate Wilder for losing. He hated that Wilder refused to evolve. To him, a fighter's character matters more than his punch. And in Wilder, Wittman saw raw talent without maturity. 5. Conor McGregor. Few names irritate Trevor Wittman more than Conor McGregor. Despite acknowledging McGregor's striking brilliance and timing, Wittman has always been critical of his attitude toward the sport. In Wittman's philosophy, discipline and humility are non-negotiable, but McGregor represents the opposite, a fighter consumed by fame and ego. Wittman once said that the moment a fighter starts chasing attention instead of progress, his downfall begins. He believes McGregor became a victim of his own success, trading hard work for headlines. Wittman's dislike isn't based on jealousy, but disappointment.
If one of us goes to war, we all go to war.
He saw McGregor as a revolutionary talent who could have changed the sport's technical standards, but instead, he turned into a showman. The press conferences, the insults, the scandals, all of it, to Wittman, corrupted what martial arts stands for. He often points to McGregor as a cautionary tale, a fighter who mastered the art of promotion but forgot the art of discipline. Wittman values fighters who remain grounded even at the top, and McGregor's arrogance clashes with that belief entirely. He once remarked that some fighters win the world and lose their soul, a thinly veiled reference to McGregor's trajectory. For Wittman, Conor's downfall wasn't physical, it was spiritual. And that's why Wittman can't stand him. 6. Dillon Danis. Of all the fighters Trevor Wittman has spoken about, none draw his disgust quite like Dillon Danis. To Wittman, Danis is the modern symbol of wasted talent and empty talk. Known more for his online feuds than his fights, Danis embodies everything Wittman despises about the new generation of combat athletes. Danis started with promise in jiu-jitsu, but quickly turned into a social media clown, prioritizing attention over achievement. Wittman once commented that fighting is sacred, not a stage for comedians. While he never worked directly with Danis, Wittman's criticisms make it clear that he sees him as an embarrassment to the sport.
Logan Paul in the pink prime.
Danis's lack of discipline, frequent controversies, and avoidance of real competition violate every principle Wittman stands for. As a coach who's built champions through structure and focus, Wittman views Danis as the complete opposite, a man with potential but no professionalism. In interviews, Wittman has hinted that fighters like Danis are poison to young athletes, teaching them that clout matters more than craft. That disgust goes beyond dislike.
A lot of martial arts and things of that nature, but boxing, he's never done this before.
And let's be honest, striking in MMA has not been his strong suit.
It's philosophical hatred. For Wittman, Danis represents the decay of martial respect. It's not just that he doesn't fight, it's that he disrespects those who do. Trevor Wittman's honesty about the fighters he hates reveals more about his values than his grudges. He isn't a man driven by spite, he's a coach driven by standards.
If Danis is to take Spencer down, who's a very good striker. I like that attempt there from Warren.
And again,
You don't grapple with a grappler, though.
Every name on his list symbolizes something he stands against: arrogance, chaos, or wasted potential.